going to sing Shalom La'aka. We're going to do the Klepper version. You're all going to do it? Okay.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Ahavat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Matt Berger, and pleased to have you with us on this night before Halloween Shabbat, just a few days away from our country's election this Tuesday. You'll see the flags on either side. I'm joined with our soloist, Allison Rosoff, and Tim Berneman down there on the piano. We're going to, for our first song this Shabbat evening, sing Yedid Nefesh, Heart's Delight. Yedid Nefesh, Avarahaman, Avarahaman. Mishok avdecha el retzonecha el retzonecha. Yedid nefesh avarahaman avarahaman. Mishok avdecha el retzonecha el retzonecha. Yarutz avdecha yemoaya yishachave el muladarecha. Yedid nefesh Avarahaman, Avarahaman. Mishoch avdecha el retzonecha, el retzonecha. We'll prepare ourselves for lighting the candles with Debbie Friedman's Light These Lights.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let
For those of you with prayer books before you, on page 2, you'll find the bracha, the blessing for lighting the Shabbos candles. We bless you, God, for the mitzvah, the commandment to light the twin candles of Shabbat. So this week in the annual Torah reading cycle, we're at one of my favorites, Lech Lecha, meaning go for yourself. This is God's original call to Abraham. And one of the types of poetry that I really enjoy is called haiku, which is a Japanese style of poetry with 3 lines, 5, 7, and 5 syllables. And Rick Lupert, among many others who have created haikus for various Torah portions. Ed Nickow was actually one of the originators of this in Chicago. I'm going to offer 4 different Rick Lupert haikus on Lech Lecha, on Go Forth. The first, leaving town. It begins, God, Avram, leave town. Avram, where am I going? God answers, trust me. Number 2, on moving. No one likes to move, but go where I will show you, and you will be great. Number 3, generation to generation. Begins, what good is treasure with no heirs? As many as stars in the sky, God says. And finally, this is more humorous. You'd think it's too late at 99 years, but no. Time to call the moil. That's an awesome one. Thank you, Rick Lupert, for that bit of Shabbos humor. I'm going to get my guitar. We're going to sing Lecha Dodi, which you can find on page 20 and 21. When we get to that final verse on 21, asking the Shabbos bride, Boi v'shalom, to come in peace, we can stand where we are and face the doorway of the room you're in, or for those here in the sanctuary. We're going to be doing this to Simon and Garfunkel's Scarborough Fair. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nikabla.
Shmor v'zochar b'dibo b'chad, Yishmiyanu Elohem Yuchad, Adonai Echad Shmo Echad, Hashem el Tiferet v'Lidula.
לקראת שבת לכוונך, כי מקור הברכה, בראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה. Here's our final verse. Rise for this. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, kam besimcha uvzola, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabla. Feel free to be seated. We'll continue on page 24. Shalom Aleichem. Peace be to you, angels.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hasharet, Malachi Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Borachem l'shalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Elyon, Shalom, Shalom. Mi Melech, Malachi Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Shalom. Peace be upon you, angels divine. Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, shalom. Tzidkem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Shalom, shalom. Mimelech malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, shalom. Shalom.
Making our way towards Shema and its blessings, we chant the words of Chatzi Kaddish, the half Kaddish words of praise, page 26.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, b'yamad yivrach yutei v'yamlich machutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, v'imaru amen.
Yehishmei Rabbah mevarach, le'olam u'lalmei hamaya, yitzbarach, yibarach, v'yishabach, v'yipa'ar, v'yitroman, v'yitnasei, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, daminran be'alma, v'imeru, amen. Let's rise now for the call to prayer, the Barchu.
Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam.
Praising God for the sun, moon, and stars, Ma'ariv, Aravim, page 30. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et takochavim, b'mishmeratehem barakia kirtzona. Borei yom v'layla, goel orim mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, ma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzavaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam, unending is your love for your people, the house of Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts have you taught us. Therefore, God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. Then your love shall never depart from our hearts. We praise you, Eternal One, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Let's open up our eyes, preparing for the Shema. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live, fill our hearts with joy. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one. We will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Feel free to be seated. We'll continue chanting the words of the Shema, you shall love Adonai your God, page 36. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shokmecha uv'kumecha ukshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem ekol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, amen. On page 39, words of freedom. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we are taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together as we sing Mi Chamocha. Closing words of the blessing, V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, u'galo miyad chazak mimenu. Praise are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Continue on page 42, the words of Hashkivenu, protection and shelter.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom. Le'amidenu Shomereinu L'chaim. Uvros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha, Uvros aleinu Sukat Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with the morning light. Teach us God wrong from right.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace, Sukat Shlomecha, is spread over us, your people Israel, and Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai, haparei Sukat Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Let's continue with the words of Vishamru, keeping and observing Shabbat, page 42.
B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Shamru Bnei Israel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Ledorotam Birit Olam Uvayom HaShvi Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash V'shamru Bnei Israel et HaShabbat Lasot et HaShabbat Lidorotem Birit Olam. Let's rise now for our standing prayers called Ha-Tefillah. Begin on page 46 with God Open Our Lips.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi hilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'chonei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imaot, U'mevi Gula livnei v'neihem, L'man Shemo be'ava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei Hakol, Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Moshiv HaRuach, U'Marid HaGashem, Mechachel Chaim Mechesed, Mechayei Hakol berachamim rabim, Somech Novim ve'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mechayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, U'Midom Elach, Melech Memit U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei HaKol.
Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalu b'selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Feel free to be seated. And we'll continue with 3 intermediate blessings of the Tefillah. The first for Shabbat, the holiness of the day. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat, for prayer. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato l'Tzion, that God's presence will always return lovingly to Zion, to Israel. And for gratitude, Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lechodot. We're going to sing now Shalom Rav, our prayer of peace, Birkat Shalom, on page 60. Shalom Rav, Am Yisrael Amcha, Sim Le'olam. Shalom Rav, Am Yisrael Amcha, Sim אתה הוא מלך הדור, וכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך הדור, וכל השלום. שלום רב בישראל עמך, שים לעולם. שלום רב בישראל עמך, שים לעולם. טוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל, בכל עת ובכל שעה ישלומך. שלום רב בישראל עמך, שים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך, שים לעולם. שים לעולם. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, b'shalom. Let's take a few moments for our own silent prayer. After this, we'll be singing Lech Lecha, which is on page 341. If you have your prayer book with me, don't look on the screen, because it will not be on the screen, but only if you have a prayer book. We'll call this an audible. Lech Lecha is a beautiful, beautiful song by Debbie Friedman, perfect and tailor-made for this week's Parsha, or Torah portion.
To a place you do not know. Lichilach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And all shall make your name great. Lech Lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lichilach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lichilach. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing.
Let's turn now to the middle of our prayer books, or right on the screen before you, for our healing prayer, Mi Sheberach, which translates as God the one who blesses. This time we think about all those who are affected by COVID-19 and pray for their recovery, as well as for the following individuals. For strength and healing, Lori Bauk, Herb Bloom, Eileen Braunstein, Marcy Bunn, Lisa Cargile, Eddie Deerfield, Matthew Deinhardt, Edie Eckber, Linda Fine, Harry Fleisch, Myra Friedman, Andrew Garon, Mark Gittimer, Leah Gottlieb, Nick Gustafson, Margaret Hicks, Erwin Kern, Murray Konigsberg, Lou Quall, Faye Malkin, Arthur Maller, Donald Marks, Aaron Mailer, Marcia Mollet, Sandy Morganlander, Danny Pilder, Teresa Reese, Bob Rosen, Hal Rosenberg, Reese Rosenthal, Stephanie Ross, Andrew Schiller, Sue Schoenbaum, Arlene Charlotte, Betty Sharp, Arlene Scher, Mary Sivan, Riva Sorkers, Jeff Starr, David Tottenbaum, Rich Ehrlich, Lee Van Ness, Hilda Weinberg, George Wend, and Martin Young. If there are any other names to add aloud or in your hearts, feel free.
Jeff Stark.
So here we are. It's late October. One of my favorite baseball players, Mookie Betts, has won yet another World Series. Not for Boston, mind you, but for Los Angeles, even though all the games were played in Texas and their opponent was from Tampa Bay. What a world we live in. And soon enough, it'll be Halloween, though it'll seem quite different, I think, this year. Most probably with a lot less kids going door to door and more bowls of candy or Halloween candy holders that kids will just take instead of ringing doorbells and opening doors. But it should still be a fun evening. But not for every Jew, because actually there are a number of Jews who are leery of Halloween and its pagan origins. They feel that we should only dress up for a Jewish holiday like Purim, celebrating Queen Esther and Mordecai, while others note that Jewish law, which is called halacha, literally the way, prohibits idolatrous customs. I, for one, have always loved Halloween because of the candy, and more specifically, the candy corn, and and seeing the creativity of everyone's costumes each year. You should know, speaking of ghosts and the like, there's actually a curse in the Talmud, this great code of Jewish law, against witches. This should come as no surprise because in Judaism, there's either a blessing or a teaching about everything. This curse is found in the section of the Talmud that talks about Passover law. It's called Pesachim, and it goes like this. May boiling rot be forced into your mouth, witches. May your head go bald and carry off your crumbs. May your spices be scattered, and may the wind carry off the new saffron in your hands. Fighting words. Obviously, there were some issues back then with Judaism and sorcery, magic, witchcraft, and the like. In fact, it's a pretty fraught history. This history with the occult began far, far earlier, back in Torah times. There's a commandment in Exodus that tells us to not tolerate a sorceress. And no less a figure than Moses warned the Israelites against soothsayers and diviners who cast spells, consulted ghosts, or made inquiries of the dead. All of these things, we're told, are abhorrent to God. This is somewhat ironic because many people believe that Judaism is a rational religion. To be sure, the Reform movement in America championed this idea for many decades in the late 19th and early 20th century, even to the mid-1900s. But there's a whole lot of superstition that's also part of our heritage. The ancient rabbis understood that things like sorcery and witchcraft weren't always pushed to the periphery. Rather, they were relevant to the people, which meant that Jews engaged in these practices. Why else would the rabbis need to tell stories and create rules denouncing magic? There is one Jewish holiday that I can think of that regularly invokes the supernatural, and that's Sukkot. Because of the custom of inviting these mystical guests, the Aramaic word is ushpizin if they're men, or ushpizot if they're women. It's been a long-standing tradition, many hundreds of years, to invite the patriarchs and a few others, such as Joseph, Moses, or King David. More recently, the guest list is more egalitarian, featuring the matriarchs, even modern Jews, like the recently passed Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Not to mention, there's a custom of inviting loved ones who are no longer with us as our mystical guests. But perhaps the most intriguing example of the parallels of Jewish ritual and the supernatural is the mezuzah, that decorative case we place on our doorposts, in our houses, in synagogues as well. The mezuzah was originally an amulet. It was an amulet that would protect the Jewish home against demons. And you can read all about it in the book of Exodus. Remember that 10th plague and the angel of death that appeared? In fact, it wasn't until many, many hundreds of years later that our sages, the rabbis, imbued the mezuzah with religious meaning in the form of the parchment inscribed with the words of the Shema, that our God is one, that we place inside the mezuzah case. That being said, some still look to the mezuzah for its original purpose, to ward off evil. Throughout the Middle Ages, and even in some communities today, religious leaders may well be called out to inspect the mezuzah, or mezuzot, to see if the inscribed verses of the Shema were improperly written or perhaps even damaged, which could, in their view, be responsible for the setback. I'm serious. These examples may well be a surprise to you. At least some of them were to me when I first learned about them. But keep in mind, many people believe in ghosts. Upwards of 45% or so of Americans believe in ghosts, meaning that they believe that the spirits of the deceased can come back in certain situations and in certain places. So Jews do believe in ghosts and spirits. Stories abound in Jewish folklore describing many types. The most well-known and misunderstood is the Dybbuk, which is either a malevolent spirit out to harm an innocent person or a neutral spirit out to punish a wicked person. There are also demons, supernatural beings that can harm people, like the mythical figure Lilith, who is said to have been created at the very end of the sixth day of creation, right before the first Shabbat. Lilith is said to haunt expectant mothers as they prepare to give birth. And finally, there's the golem. The golem, this little clay figure right here. So the golem was given life by its creator, usually made out of clay. The Maharal, or the Jewish leader of Prague, was said to have created one to protect the Jewish community. I remember visiting Prague years ago with my wife. And in case you're wondering, Prague is about as cold as Chicago in February, so perhaps pick another month for your trip to Prague. The golem, we learn, awaits the rabbi's commands and only rises from its slumber when the time is right to protect the community. I think that many of us are thrilled and excited with these stories of witches and sorcerers. Why else would books like Harry Potter be so popular with kids as well as adults? Their mysterious powers bring excitement and mystery to the rational world, and they stir our imagination. Perhaps the most intriguing incidents of Jews and the supernatural occur in the biblical book of Chronicles. Here, King Saul, or Shaul of Israel, asked to conjure up the spirit of his confidant, the late prophet Samuel. Saul consulted Samuel for many, many decisions every time before he went into a military battle. And once Saul lost his friend and confidant Shmuel, he was bereft. Speaking to his attendants, Saul said, "Find me a woman who is a medium, so I may go and inquire of her." And they replied, "There's one in Endor." Though the Hebrew clearly speaks of a woman, it becomes clear that she's a witch. In the story, the voice of Samuel immediately afterwards berates Saul for disobeying God and going to the medium. He predicts that in just one day, Saul and his entire army will perish in their battle with the Philistines, which comes true. So why did Saul risk his power and position with such an amateurish move? In all probability, it was a cry for help. Saul was lost without the prophet Samuel. And when Saul tried to get advice from God, we're told, Saul didn't receive an answer. So in desperation, he sought wisdom from another source, except in this case, he didn't choose wisely. To my mind, this story about Saul, Shmuel, and the witch of Endor is more about the challenges of leadership and the lengths to which some people go in order to find a trusted voice. As our nation goes to the polls next Tuesday, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who have voted, whether by mail or in person. It's so important to exercise our right and responsibility to elect our leaders, a freedom that many soldiers have fought and sometimes died to defend. And if you haven't voted, I urge you to put on your mask and do so this Tuesday. The sage Hillel taught, Al tifros min hatzibur, do not separate yourself from the community. As Jews, we're asked to take an active role in these affairs and to ensure that before any leader is elected, the community is first consulted. And with all the big debates, the advertisements in the mail, in print, on television, the commentary that we have read, heard, and seen, I think that we have all the information that we need. And let us offer a prayer as well that our current leaders, as well as our newly elected ones, will turn to the wisdom of experts, not soothsayers, to guide us through this pandemic and the months ahead. All of us should follow the science, and all of us should follow the advice of medical professionals who use their God-given talents to help our communities remain healthy and safe. I hope that our country can find just a small measure of healing after this election, for we certainly need it. May we all look forward to the day when every person is treated equally, with justice, and with fairness. A time when all of us will understand the wisdom of our country's motto, E pluribus unum. Out of many, we become one. Shabbat Shalom and Happy Halloween. Going to continue with my friend the Golem on page 282 as we chant the adoration. Please rise as the ark is opened.
Aleinu l'shabech la'adon hakol, la'atid gedula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigli haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot haramav, shelo sam kelkinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anaknu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim livnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Free to be seated. You'll find the words to Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294 in your prayer books or on the screen before you. As we think about families in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, we remember now Vera Fish, mother of Michael Fish, Barbara Kushner-Endy, mother of Deborah Browning, John Adler, husband of Wendy Wax, Paulette Markowitz, wife of Howard Markowitz and mother of Gwen Clemens, Marty Strudler, friend of Dolores Turner, Paul Messina, uncle of Lori Bauk, and Nan Strauss, sister of Ellen Wohl. We also mark with a sense of love and affection the yahrzeit anniversary of passing of a loved one. We remember on this Shabbat Harry Barles, Sylvia Barles, Joan Becker, Renee Becker, Sarah Berman, Minnie Brand, Matthew Burseth, Pauline First, Gerald Greenman, Larry Kowalski, Edith Kowalski, George Kulik, Jean Cooperman, Rhoda Morrison, Salome Rosenberg, Harry Sayoff, Martin Schloss, Leonard Seligman, Morris Shapro, Carl Silber, Lillian Strykowski, Ruth Streuman, Barney Tapper, Isadore Turner, Rochelle Weiner, and Bertha Rice. Are there any other names to add for yard site at this time? We say Zichronam Livracha, may the memories of all of these good people continue to be a blessing in our lives as we rise to offer these words of Kaddish praise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayichon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'alam ulamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who causes peace in the heavens cause peace to descend on us, Israel, and the world, as we say amen.
V'miru, 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 amen. V'miru, 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 amen.
Feel free to be seated. We'll continue with the Shabbat Kiddush, page 5 in your prayer books.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'yahava uvratzon inhilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon hinkaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
Chaim to life. Motzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. 2 announcements this week. Next 2 Shabbat services are going to be very special. First to note, this originally is going to be the adult Benot mitzvah service. That is going to be postponed to their original 1 year later, Behalotecha Torah portion. I think it's Friday, May 28th, 2021. But the next 2 Shabbats here, Friday, November 6th, we're going to honor our veterans. Many thanks to the Brotherhood for putting together a speaker who will share some of his experiences, and we're going to have a special blessing for one of the servicemen as well as part of that service. And the next Friday, Friday the 13th, our Beatles Shabbat. We had our first practice right before services, 10 Beatles tunes towards our prayers and songs. It should be a whole lot of fun. Maybe we'll do something in costume. We've got to talk about that, and we're going to have some additional band members as well, Michelle Koningsberg, Eve Goldstein, and a drummer who will be in the corner over there. Our final song is going to be on the split screen before you, Craig Taubman's Shir Hamalot, Shabbat Shalom, Psalm 126. For protecting our health, prayer for guarding our body, our nefesh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al shmirat hanefesh. It is a mitzvah commandment to protect our life and the lives of those around us. Vote on Tuesday. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and see you next Friday.